Hello, I'm Liam.Garden and welcome to my allotment tour at the start of June. It's been a few days since my last post, as the hot weather has kept me very busy with my gardening plants, and my spare time has been filled up with extra watering tasks and all the planting out that needs doing at this time of year. It's actually been many weeks since my last long video on YouTube. I prefer to create short videos on YouTube, the vertical ones of 3 minutes or less, as I think with gardening videos, a short video that gets to the point is better than a long rambling one. But doing an allotment tour in 3 minutes or less is quite a challenge. So just to say really, please look out for my short videos, and it would be great to hear from you by leaving a comment to let me know if you prefer the longer or shorter ones. Starting with the blueberries, which are under the net here. These are ripening nicely. One of the plants is actually a honeyberry that's already provided a harvest. One thing to note is that some of the leaves are showing signs of a nutrient deficiency. I did mulch the plants this spring, and this will take some time to take effect. But if the leaves continue to look like this, I may try a seaweed feed. I've got one bed dedicated to dahlias. I didn't lift the dahlia tubers last winter, and I reckon I've lost half of the plants. But I bought more tubers in winter, and these have filled the gaps. I'm not happy to have lost so many plants, and I think I will lift them this year. I've remembered to label the plants too. I always regret not doing this. Next to the dahlias, I have a bed topped and tailed with lupins. One end of the bed has mature lupins that are over 2 years old, and these are in flower. The other end has plants sown this year. The bed also contains honesty. These plants have already flowered, but the pretty seed heads are visible now. In the middle of the bed are sweet peas. I think these are beautiful. The plants in flower are ones that have self-seeded. The plants from seed sown this year have really struggled. They look in good health now, but they are really small. On the plus side, this may make for a longer flowering season. I have more young lupin plants at either end of my pea beds. I'm growing these plants on and will move them later in the summer. I have 2 varieties of pea. Both are ready to harvest now. The sugar snap are here, and the regular peas are next to them. It's time to harvest them. Down from the pea bed, I have another bed containing flowers. There are sweet peas at the end, but what I'm really excited about are the plants in the middle. The big plant in the middle is a hollyhock. It produced pretty flowers last year, but like this year, does not seem to want to grow that tall. Some hollyhocks can reach over 2 meters in height. What I hope will grow tall are these sunflower plants that I sowed around the hollyhock. I find sunflowers often get eaten by slugs and snails when small, so I'm really pleased these plants have made it through this stage. And as an added surprise, I think I have some cosmos growing. This bed has the potential to be really pretty. At the end of the bed are my chard plants. I've given them plenty of water to nurse them through the recent heat wave, but they are very close to harvesting now. I then have 2 beds that I have not got round to sorting. At the far end of this empty bed are these calendula, or pot marigold, that's self-seeded. I really need to either thin these plants out or divide and move them. The other bed contains a mixture of clover, which is great for adding nitrogen to the soil, and verbena. I don't think I'm going to touch this bed this summer. Effectively, it will be fallow for the year. The next 2 beds are being used. The first one contains my courgette plants. They are still very young, and I planted them using a good amount of well-rotted manure. In the bed next to them are my winter squash plants. They also like a really rich planting hole. I've marked their position with sticks as a guide to where to water once the plants start growing large. I have more chard at the end of this bed. The plants were planted slightly later than the others I showed earlier. I'm hoping this will extend the harvesting period. The rest of the bed is currently empty. Up from this bed are my self-seeded leeks. These are about to come into flower, and I'm really excited about that. There are also some Californian poppy plants. They are sulking today because it's wet and cold. My experiment with growing potatoes in pots is currently going well. The plants are looking great, very healthy with a good colour. The pots help with watering and hopefully will make harvesting easier. The apple tree is absolutely loaded with fruit. I would be even more enthusiastic if I felt I had a good chance of harvesting the apples. However, last year the parakeets had the lot. And that's one of the reasons I had the fruit cage here. The gooseberry plants are covered with fruit, and this variety will turn red when fully ripe. I gave a runner from one of these plants to a gardening client. Unfortunately, their unnetted plant had all its young fruit eaten last week. There is a red currant bush too, just here. The fruit is ripening. I've noticed there is some dead wood on the plant, and my plan is to inspect and prune this carefully over winter. The hybrid berry canes have been in full flower and are now setting fruit. The most prolific plant I have is this tayberry that produces masses of fruit. I also have a less vigorous loganberry plant here, but it does have plenty of fruit. I have two boysenberry plants. This is the best tasting fruit of the three. These have a more rambling habit and are also covered in fruit. Outside the polytunnel, in a semi-shaded area, I have a trough that I use to sow my leeks. This has worked well this year. The plants are almost ready for planting out. I also have a grow house containing kale. Unfortunately, the wind blew the tray off the chair, but considering this happened, I'm pleased that there are a few plants left. I've created a few videos now on my polytunnel tomatoes. It's not been an easy year. Everything is growing slowly. In size, the plants are a month behind where I'd like them to be. I've got 14 plants in total, including 4 shop-bought plants. I bought these to try and achieve an earlier harvest because I knew my homegrown plants were not growing well. In addition, I bought a couple of Incaberry plants, sometimes called Cape gooseberries. I enjoy eating these, and they grow well inside a polytunnel. It's been a few years since I've grown these, and when I saw them in a nursery, it was an impulse purchase. I've also got a couple of baby cucumber plants. They're starting to grow properly now, but as with my tomatoes, it's been a slow year for them. And that's it for the tour. If you liked it, please let me know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment. And please look out for the short videos I post more regularly.